The church bells rang out across the morning sky as Anna Roberts adjusted her veil one final time in the bridal suite mirror. Her dark skin glowed against the white silk of her dress, and her smile was radiant as she thought about walking down the aisle to marry Thomas, the man she'd loved for 3 years. In just minutes she would become Mrs. Thomas Mitchell, and their life together would officially begin. But Anna had no idea that her maid of honor, Rebecca Collins, was standing in the church sanctuary at that very moment, pregnant with her future husband's child and ready to destroy everything. The wedding had been planned for 18 months. Every detail was perfect, from the white roses that lined the church pews to the reception hall decorated in gold and ivory. Anna's family had flown in from across the country. Thomas's parents sat in the front row, beaming with pride. 200 guests filled the historic church, all there to witness what everyone believed would be a beautiful celebration of love. Anna's mother squeezed her hand as they waited at the back of the church. "You look absolutely beautiful, sweetheart," she whispered. "I'm so proud of you." The music began and Anna started her walk down the aisle. Her heart raced with joy as she saw Thomas waiting at the altar in his black tuxedo, looking handsome and nervous. She couldn't wait to say "I do" and start their future together. They had plans: a house in the suburbs, children, careers they would build together. Everything seemed perfect. The ceremony began beautifully. The pastor welcomed everyone and spoke about the sacred bond of marriage. Anna and Thomas exchanged loving glances as they prepared to recite their vows. The church was filled with the soft sounds of happiness, gentle murmurs of approval from guests, the rustle of wedding programs, and the click of cameras capturing the special moment. "We are gathered here today," the pastor began, "to witness the union of Anna and Thomas in holy matrimony. If anyone has a reason why these two should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace." It was supposed to be a formality. No one ever actually spoke during that part of the ceremony. But Rebecca, standing just 3 feet away from Anna in her lavender bridesmaid dress, slowly raised her hand. The church fell silent. Anna turned to look at her best friend since college, confusion written across her face. Rebecca's eyes were red from crying, and her hands shook as she stepped forward. "I'm sorry," Rebecca said, her voice carrying clearly through the silent church. "I can't let this happen. I have to tell the truth." Anna's heart began to pound, but not with joy anymore. Something was very wrong. Thomas's face went pale as he stared at Rebecca with what looked like panic. "I'm pregnant," Rebecca announced, her voice growing stronger. "And Thomas is the father." The words hit the church like a bomb going off. Guests gasped and turned to each other in shock. Anna's mother let out a cry of dismay. Thomas's parents looked horrified. Someone in the back of the church dropped their program, and the sound echoed in the stunned silence. Anna felt the world tilt around her. The beautiful white church suddenly felt like it was spinning. Her perfect wedding dress felt heavy and wrong. The man she was about to marry, the man she trusted with her heart and her future, had betrayed her in the worst possible way. But instead of collapsing or running away in tears like everyone expected, Anna did something that surprised everyone in that church. She smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was cold and calculated. She looked at Rebecca, then at Thomas, then back at the shocked faces of their wedding guests. "Thank you, Rebecca," Anna said calmly, her voice steady and clear. "I was wondering when you were going to tell everyone." The church erupted in confused murmurs. What did she mean she was wondering? How could she be so calm? Thomas stepped toward her, his face desperate. "Anna, please let me explain," he began. "No need," Anna interrupted, holding up her hand. "I already know everything. In fact, I've known for quite some time." She turned to face their guests, 200 people who had come to celebrate what they thought was a love story, but who were about to witness something entirely different. "Ladies and gentlemen," Anna announced, her voice carrying easily through the church, "thank you all for being here today. You came to see a wedding, but instead, you're going to see something much more interesting. You're going to see the truth." Rebecca looked confused and frightened. Thomas was backing away from the altar like he wanted to run. The pastor didn't know what to do. But Anna stood there in her wedding dress, looking more powerful and in control than anyone had ever seen her. "Please, everyone stay seated," Anna continued. "Don't leave yet. Because what you're about to learn will shock you even more than what Rebecca just announced. And I promise you, by the time I'm finished, you'll understand exactly why this wedding needed to end this way." The church was dead silent except for the sound of Anna's heels clicking on the marble floor as she walked to the front pew where she had left a small bag. She reached inside and pulled out a thick folder. "You see," she said, holding up the folder, "I've been busy for the past 6 months. Very busy. And I have quite a story to tell you all." Anna stood at the altar, still in her wedding dress, holding the folder that would change everything. The church was so quiet you could hear people breathing. Rebecca looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. Thomas was pale and sweating, his hands shaking at his sides. 6 months ago, Anna began, her voice steady and clear, I started noticing changes in Thomas's behavior. He was working late more often. He was secretive with his phone. He started arguments over small things, like he was looking for excuses to leave the house. She opened the folder and pulled out the first document. At first I thought maybe he was just stressed about the wedding. Planning a big event can be overwhelming. So I decided to be a supportive fiancé and help manage our finances to take some pressure off him. Anna's mother sat in the front row with tears in her eyes, but she wasn't crying from sadness anymore. She was looking at her daughter with a mixture of pride and amazement. This wasn't the broken, devastated woman anyone expected to see. This was someone who had been planning and preparing. That's when I discovered the first problem, Anna continued. Thomas had been taking money from our joint savings account. The account we set up for our down payment on a house. Thousands of dollars were missing. She held up a bank statement. At first I thought maybe there was a mistake. Maybe the bank had made an error. So I went to speak with them in person. That's when I learned that Thomas had been making regular withdrawals for months. Thomas tried to speak again. Anna, you don't understand. I understand perfectly, she cut him off. I understand that you took $8,000 from our shared savings. Money I had worked overtime to contribute. Money we were supposed to use to build our life together. The guests were listening to every word. Some were pulling out their phones, recording what was happening. Anna noticed but didn't care. She wanted people to hear this. So I did what any reasonable person would do, Anna said. I hired a private investigator. Rebecca gasped. Thomas looked like he might throw up. Anna smiled again, that same cold, satisfied smile. Meet Detective Johnson, Anna said, gesturing toward a man in a suit sitting in the back of the church. He's been documenting Thomas and Rebecca's activities for the past 4 months. Detective Johnson stood up briefly and nodded. He looked professional and serious, like someone you definitely wouldn't want following you around if you were doing something wrong. The detective's report makes for very interesting reading, Anna continued. Thomas and Rebecca have been meeting regularly at the Sunrise Motel on Highway 9. They've had dinner at Romano's restaurant 12 times, that's the expensive Italian place downtown. Rebecca has been wearing some very nice jewelry lately, hasn't she? That diamond bracelet looks expensive. Rebecca instinctively covered her wrist, where a sparkly bracelet caught the church lights. All paid for with money from our joint account, Anna said. Money that Thomas stole from our future to fund his affair. The church erupted in angry murmurs. Anna's aunts were shaking their heads in disgust. Thomas's own mother was glaring at him with disappointment and shame. His father looked like he wanted to crawl under the pew. But wait, Anna said, raising her voice to quiet the crowd. It gets better. Because Rebecca didn't just betray our friendship by sleeping with my fiancé. She also betrayed her own boyfriend. Everyone turned to look at a young man sitting halfway back in the church. He was tall with red hair and looked completely shocked. This was Rebecca's boyfriend, Scott, who thought he was at his girlfriend's best friend's wedding. That's right, Scott, Anna said, looking directly at him. Rebecca has been cheating on you too. For over a year. While you thought she was working late at the office or having girls' nights with me, she was actually with Thomas. Scott stood up slowly, his face red with anger and embarrassment. He stared at Rebecca like he'd never seen her before. Rebecca was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. And here's the most interesting part, Anna continued. Rebecca isn't just pregnant with Thomas's child. She's been planning this whole thing. She wanted to break us up so she could have Thomas for herself. Anna pulled out another document from her folder. Text messages between Rebecca and Thomas, discussing their plan to destroy our relationship. Rebecca suggested that Thomas should find reasons to fight with me. She told him to make Anna doubt the relationship, so I would be the one to break up with him. The church was buzzing with shock and anger now. People were standing up to get better looks at the evidence Anna was presenting. Someone called Rebecca a terrible name. Thomas's groomsmen were staring at him like they'd never met him before. But they made one mistake, Anna said, her voice getting stronger and more confident. They underestimated me. They thought I was weak. They thought I would just cry and run away when I found out. They thought wrong. Anna walked closer to Thomas and Rebecca, still holding her folder of evidence. You see, I'm not just angry. I'm not just hurt. I'm smart. And I've been planning this moment for months. She looked out at the crowd of wedding guests. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for witnessing this. Because what happens next is going to be the most important part of this whole story. Anna reached into her bag again and pulled out her phone. I have one more call to make before we continue. She dialed a number while everyone watched. Hello, Officer Martinez? This is Anna Roberts. We discussed this earlier. Yes, I'm ready for you to come in now. Two police officers appeared at the back of the church. They walked down the aisle toward Thomas and Rebecca as Anna explained to the shocked crowd what was about to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Anna announced, Thomas Mitchell and Rebecca Collins are about to be arrested for theft and fraud. The police officers walked down the church aisle as Anna continued to address the stunned wedding guests. Officer Martinez, a serious-looking woman with graying hair, approached the altar while her partner positioned himself near the exit. As I was saying, Anna continued, I've been documenting everything. Thomas, you didn't just steal money from our joint account. You also forged my signature on several documents. She pulled out more papers from her folder. These are loan applications. Thomas applied for personal loans using both of our names and credit scores, but he forged my signature. He never told me about these loans. I only found out when Detective Johnson helped me run a complete credit check. Thomas was backing away from Anna, but there was nowhere to go. The altar was surrounded by shocked family members and now police officers. $12,000 in personal loans, Anna announced. All in both our names, but I never signed for any of them. That's fraud, Thomas. That's a serious crime. Officer Martinez stepped forward. Mr. Mitchell, you're under arrest for identity theft and fraud. You have the right to remain silent. As the officer began reading Thomas's rights, Anna turned to Rebecca. And you, Rebecca, you're not innocent either. You helped him plan this. You encouraged him to take the money. And you spent it knowing it was stolen. Rebecca was sobbing now. Anna, please, I never meant for it to go this far. I never meant to hurt you like this. You never meant to get caught, Anna corrected. There's a difference. Anna pulled out her phone and showed the screen to the crowd. These are text messages between Thomas and Rebecca from 3 weeks ago. Rebecca is telling Thomas to take more money from our account because she wants to go on a vacation together. She's literally instructing him to steal from me. The crowd gasped as Anna read the messages out loud. Take more from the savings account. Anna won't notice if you're careful. We deserve this money. She's so boring anyway. I can't wait until we can be together officially. Rebecca's own mother, sitting in the third row, looked horrified. Rebecca and Collins, she said loudly, how could you do such a thing? But the most disgusting part, Anna continued, is what I found out yesterday. Rebecca, tell everyone what you told Thomas about the baby. Rebecca looked terrified. She shook her head, refusing to speak. No? Then I'll tell them, Anna said. Rebecca isn't actually pregnant. The church erupted in shocked voices. People were standing up, pointing, shouting questions. Rebecca's fake pregnancy announcement had been the bomb that started this whole confrontation, and now Anna was saying it wasn't even true? That's right, Anna said, raising her voice over the noise. Rebecca bought a fake pregnancy test online. She's been lying about being pregnant to manipulate Thomas into leaving me. And Thomas was too stupid to ask her to prove it. Anna pulled out a receipt from her folder. Online purchase from fakepregnancies.com. Ordered 2 weeks ago and delivered to Rebecca's apartment. I have the proof. Officer Martinez was putting handcuffs on Thomas while her partner approached Rebecca. The scene was surreal, a beautiful church decorated for a wedding, now the site of arrests and public humiliation. Rebecca Collins, the second officer said, you're under arrest for fraud and conspiracy. As Rebecca was also handcuffed, she kept crying and trying to talk to Anna. Anna, please, we were friends. We were best friends. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Anna looked at her former friend with no emotion in her eyes. We were never friends, Rebecca. Friends don't sleep with each other's fiancés. Friends don't steal from each other. Friends don't lie and manipulate and destroy each other's lives. The police officers began leading Thomas and Rebecca toward the back of the church. The wedding guests were in chaos. Some were cheering for Anna, others were crying, everyone was talking at once. Wait, Anna called out. I'm not finished yet. The officers paused. Anna walked to the center of the altar and raised her voice to address the crowd. I want everyone to know something very important, she said. This didn't just happen overnight. This wasn't just a simple affair that got out of control. Thomas and Rebecca have been planning to destroy my life for over a year. She opened her folder to a new section of documents. Thomas has been slowly poisoning me against my own family and friends. He told me my mother didn't like him when she actually told him she thought he was perfect for me. He told me my friends thought I was making a mistake marrying him when they actually planned a surprise bridal shower for me. Anna's mother stood up in the front row. That's true. Thomas told me Anna didn't want me involved in the wedding planning. I thought my own daughter didn't want my help. He was isolating me, Anna explained, making me think everyone was against our relationship so I would depend only on him. And Rebecca was helping him do it. Anna pulled out printed emails. Emails between Thomas and Rebecca where they discuss how to separate Anna from her support system. They wanted me to be alone and dependent so it would be easier to control me and steal from me. The crowd was getting angrier. Some of Thomas's own family members were shaking their heads in disgust. His brother stood up and said loudly, "We never raised you to be this kind of person, Thomas." "There's more," Anna continued. "Thomas has been sabotaging my job. He called my boss 3 times in the last 2 months, pretending to be concerned about my mental health. He told them I was having emotional problems and might need time off work." Anna's boss, Miss Patterson, was in the crowd and looked shocked. "Is that why you seem so upset lately? I thought you were just stressed about the wedding." "I was confused and hurt because I thought everyone was turning against me," Anna explained. "I didn't understand why my boss was asking if I needed counseling or why my coworkers were treating me differently. Now I know it was because Thomas was spreading lies about me." Anna walked closer to where the police were holding Thomas and Rebecca. "You didn't just steal my money. You tried to steal my life. My job, my family relationships, my friendships. You wanted to destroy everything I had so I would have nothing left but you." Thomas finally spoke up, his voice desperate. "Anna, I love you. I made mistakes, but I love you. We can fix this. We can go to counseling." Anna laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Love? You call this love? Thomas, you don't steal from people you love. You don't lie to them. You don't try to destroy their lives. You don't know what love is." She turned back to the crowd. "And that's why I planned this whole thing. I could have just broken up with Thomas quietly. I could have dealt with this in private. But they didn't just betray me. They tried to destroy me. They wanted to ruin my life completely." Anna held up her folder of evidence. "So I decided to ruin theirs instead." As the police continued to hold Thomas and Rebecca, Anna wasn't finished revealing the depth of their betrayal. She pulled out another section from her thick folder, and the wedding guests leaned forward to hear what other secrets would be exposed. "Ladies and gentlemen," Anna continued, "what I've shown you so far is just the beginning. Thomas and Rebecca didn't just have an affair. They built an entire network of lies designed to destroy every aspect of my life." She held up a printed email. "This is from Rebecca to my cousin Jennifer, sent 6 weeks ago. Rebecca told Jennifer that I had said terrible things about her new boyfriend. Things I never said. Rebecca was trying to turn my own family against me." Jennifer stood up from her seat, looking confused and hurt. "Rebecca told me you said I was making a mistake and that my boyfriend was using me for money. It caused a huge fight between us." "I never said any of that," Anna replied. "In fact, I told Rebecca I thought Jennifer's boyfriend seemed really nice and I was happy she found someone who treated her well. Rebecca twisted my words and then lied to you about what I said." Anna turned to another page. "And here's a text conversation between Rebecca and my friend Nicole from work. Rebecca told Nicole that I was jealous of her promotion and that I had been talking badly about her behind her back." A woman in the middle of the church raised her hand. "I'm Nicole. Rebecca told me Anna was spreading rumors that I didn't deserve my promotion. It ruined our friendship. We stopped talking completely." "More lies," Anna said. "I was happy about Nicole's promotion. I even wanted to take her out to dinner to celebrate, but she stopped returning my calls because Rebecca had poisoned her against me." The crowd was getting more upset as they realized how extensive the manipulation had been. This wasn't just a simple affair, it was a calculated campaign to isolate Anna and destroy her relationships. "Thomas was doing the same thing with my male friends," Anna continued. "He told my friend Carlos that I complained about Carlos borrowing money from me. Carlos never borrowed money from me. He was too embarrassed to ask me about it, so he just stopped calling." She pulled out phone records. "And here are Thomas's phone logs. He was calling my friends and family members regularly, spreading lies and creating conflicts. He wanted me to lose everyone close to me so I would depend entirely on him." Anna's father stood up from his seat. His face was red with anger. "Thomas called me last month. He said you were having second thoughts about the wedding and that you were too embarrassed to tell me yourself. I was so worried about you." "He told my mother the same thing," Anna replied. He told her I was having doubts but didn't want to disappoint everyone. Both of you were walking on eggshells around me, trying not to pressure me about a wedding I was actually excited about. The pattern was becoming clear to everyone in the church. Thomas and Rebecca hadn't just been having an affair, they had been systematically destroying Anna's life from every angle. Rebecca was also sabotaging my work relationships, Anna continued. She knew I was up for a promotion at my job. She called my supervisor and told them I was planning to quit after the wedding to start a family immediately. She said I had asked her not to tell anyone, but she was concerned they should know. Miss Patterson, Anna's boss, looked horrified. That's why we gave the promotion to someone else. We thought you weren't going to be committed to the position long term. I never said any such thing, Anna replied. I've been working toward that promotion for 2 years. I was devastated when I didn't get it, but I didn't understand why. Now I know Rebecca sabotaged me. Anna pulled out more evidence. And here's the most disgusting part of their plan. Thomas and Rebecca were planning to get married themselves in secret while I was still engaged to him. She held up printed documents. Marriage license applications in Thomas's and Rebecca's names, dated for next month. They were planning to elope while Thomas was still technically engaged to me. The crowd gasped. Even the police officers looked surprised by this revelation. That's bigamy, Officer Martinez said. That's another serious crime. They thought they could manipulate the legal system too, Anna explained. Thomas was planning to claim our engagement wasn't legal or binding. He was going to say I had mental health issues and couldn't make rational decisions about marriage. Anna's voice grew stronger and more confident as she revealed each detail. I found drafts of emails Thomas wrote to a lawyer, asking about having our engagement contract voided on mental health grounds. He was building a case to claim I was unstable and couldn't consent to marriage. Thomas tried to speak again, but Officer Martinez told him to remain quiet. The lawyer, by the way, refused to take the case, Anna continued. He told Thomas that trying to void an engagement on false mental health claims could result in legal action against Thomas himself. The lawyer was right. Anna walked closer to the crowd, speaking directly to her family and friends. Every fight we had, every argument, every time Thomas made me feel crazy or confused, it was all part of their plan. They were trying to make me doubt my own reality so they could claim I was mentally unstable. She pulled out a notebook. I started writing down everything that happened each day. Every conversation, every argument, every strange thing Thomas said. I thought I was losing my mind until I started seeing the patterns. Anna opened the notebook and read from it. March 15th, Thomas told me I had agreed to have the wedding at his mother's house instead of the church. I know I never agreed to that. March 18th, Thomas said I told him I didn't want bridesmaids, but I had already asked Rebecca and my sister to be bridesmaids. March 22nd, Thomas said I chose a different wedding dress than the one I actually chose. The crowd was listening in shocked silence as Anna read example after example of Thomas trying to make her question her own memory and decisions. It's called gaslighting, Anna explained. Thomas was trying to make me doubt my own mind so I would depend on him to tell me what reality was. And Rebecca was confirming his lies, making me think everyone else saw things differently than I did. Anna closed the notebook and looked directly at Thomas and Rebecca. But your plan had one major flaw. You underestimated me. You thought I was weak and stupid. You thought I would just believe whatever you told me and never question anything. She smiled that same cold, satisfied smile. You were wrong. Anna reached into her folder and pulled out a new set of documents that made her smile grow even wider. The wedding guests, who had been listening in stunned silence, were about to learn that Anna's revenge was far more comprehensive than anyone had imagined. Now, let me tell you about the legal action I've already taken, Anna announced. Because you see, I didn't just discover this betrayal yesterday or even last week. I've known about Thomas and Rebecca's plan for 4 months. And I've been very busy preparing my response. She held up official-looking papers with court stamps on them. 3 weeks ago, I filed a civil lawsuit against both Thomas Mitchell and Rebecca Collins for fraud, theft, emotional distress, and conspiracy. Thomas and Rebecca both looked shocked. Even with handcuffs on, Thomas tried to step forward. You can't do that. We're not even married yet. Actually, I can, Anna replied. And I did. Thanks to the excellent legal advice I received from Patterson, Martinez and Associates. She nodded toward a woman in a business suit sitting in the 4th row. My lawyer, Ms. Rodriguez, is here today to witness this confrontation. Ms. Rodriguez stood and nodded to the crowd. She looked professional and confident, exactly the kind of lawyer you'd want on your side in a situation like this. The lawsuit seeks to recover all the money stolen from our joint accounts, Anna continued. Plus damages for the emotional distress caused by your systematic campaign of lies and manipulation. Plus punitive damages for the deliberate and malicious nature of your actions. She pulled out a financial document. The total amount you stole from me, including the forged loans, the cash withdrawals, and the credit card charges, comes to $23,412. That's money I earned through overtime work, side jobs, and careful saving. Anna's voice grew harder as she spoke about the money. $23,000 that was supposed to be the down payment on our house. Money that was going to start our life together. Instead, you spent it on hotel rooms, fancy dinners, jewelry for your mistress, and a vacation to Miami that I didn't even know about. She held up hotel receipts and restaurant bills. $300 dinners while I was eating peanut butter sandwiches for lunch to save money for our wedding. 5-star hotels while I was working double shifts to contribute to our savings. The crowd was getting angry again. Anna's mother was crying, but this time it was from pride and anger rather than sadness. Her daughter had been systematically robbed and lied to, but she had been smart enough to fight back. The lawsuit also addresses the damage to my reputation and career, Anna continued. Rebecca's lies to my supervisor cost me a promotion worth $15,000 in additional salary per year. Thomas's calls to my boss could have cost me my job entirely. Ms. Rodriguez, the lawyer, stepped forward to address the crowd. I've been practicing law for 20 years, and I've rarely seen such a clear-cut case of fraud and conspiracy. Anna has documentation that most victims of financial abuse never have. Anna nodded to her lawyer, then continued her presentation. But the lawsuit is just the beginning. I've also filed complaints with the State Attorney General's office about the forged loan documents. Identity theft is a felony. Thomas is looking at potential jail time. Officer Martinez nodded. The charges we're filing today could result in up to 5 years in prison for Mr. Mitchell, and up to 3 years for Ms. Collins as an accessory. Anna pulled out another set of documents. I've also reported both of them to their employers. Thomas works at First National Bank. I'm sure they'll be very interested to learn that one of their loan officers has been forging signatures and committing identity theft. Thomas worked at a bank, which made his crimes even more serious. Banks don't tolerate employees who commit financial crimes, even outside of work. And Rebecca works at Peterson Marketing Agency, Anna continued. They have a strict code of conduct policy. I've provided them with evidence of Rebecca's involvement in fraud and her pattern of lying and manipulation. Anna walked closer to Rebecca, who was crying harder now. You're probably going to lose your job, Rebecca. And with a criminal record for fraud, you'll have trouble finding another one in marketing. Companies don't hire people they can't trust. She turned back to the crowd. But wait, there's more. I've also filed a complaint with the rental management company that owns Thomas's apartment. It turns out that having overnight guests for extended periods without reporting them violates his lease agreement. Rebecca has been staying there for months without being on the lease. Anna was clearly enjoying revealing each new legal problem she had created for Thomas and Rebecca. Thomas is probably going to be evicted. And with his credit destroyed by the criminal charges and the lawsuit, he won't be able to rent anywhere decent. She pulled out more papers. I've also reported Thomas to the credit card companies for the fraudulent charges made in my name. They're conducting their own investigation and will likely pursue their own criminal charges. Anna looked directly at Thomas and Rebecca as she delivered her final legal blow. And here's the best part. I've filed for a restraining order against both of you. If either of you tries to contact me, approach me, or interfere with my life in any way, you'll be arrested immediately. She showed the restraining order to the crowd. This means Thomas can't call me, text me, email me, or come to my apartment or workplace. Rebecca can't contact me either. If they violate this order, they go straight to jail. The wedding guests were impressed by how thoroughly Anna had prepared her legal response. She hadn't just discovered the betrayal and reacted emotionally, she had built a comprehensive plan to protect herself and make sure Thomas and Rebecca faced serious consequences. My lawyer estimates that the civil lawsuit alone will result in damages of at least $50,000, Anna announced. That's more than double what they stole from me. The extra money is for pain and suffering, damage to my reputation, and punitive damages to make sure they never do this to anyone else. Anna's father stood up and started clapping. Soon, other guests joined in, applauding Anna's strength and intelligence. She had turned what could have been her worst day into a triumph of justice and preparation. So Thomas and Rebecca, Anna said, addressing them directly, I hope you enjoyed spending my money on your affair. Because now you're going to pay it back with interest plus a lot more. And you're going to have criminal records that will follow you for the rest of your lives. She smiled one more time, but this smile was different. It wasn't cold or calculating anymore. It was satisfied and victorious. I told you that you underestimated me, Anna said. This is what happens when you try to destroy a strong woman. You don't just fail, you destroy yourselves instead. As the police prepared to escort Thomas and Rebecca from the church, Anna pulled out her phone and held it up for everyone to see. The screen showed a live streaming app with thousands of viewers watching. Ladies and gentlemen, Anna announced to the wedding guests, I should mention that this entire confrontation has been broadcast live on social media. We currently have over 15,000 people watching. The crowd gasped and turned to look at each other. Many guests pulled out their own phones to check social media, and their faces showed amazement as they saw the story spreading across multiple platforms. I set up the live stream before the ceremony began, Anna explained. I wanted to make sure that Thomas and Rebecca's actions were witnessed by more than just our wedding guests. I wanted everyone who knows them to see exactly what kind of people they really are. Anna's cousin Jennifer stood up and checked her phone. Anna, this is going viral. It's been shared over 3,000 times already. Anna nodded calmly. I invited everyone who couldn't attend the wedding to watch online. Thomas's college friends, Rebecca's former co-workers, our extended family members who live far away, they're all watching this happen in real time. She showed her phone screen to the crowd. The comments section was scrolling by rapidly with messages of support for Anna and outrage at Thomas and Rebecca's actions. Look at some of these comments, Anna said, reading from her phone. Anna is a queen for exposing these cheaters. Thomas and Rebecca are disgusting. I can't believe they tried to destroy her life like this. Anna handled this perfectly. Rebecca was sobbing uncontrollably now. Anna, please turn off the camera. Please don't ruin our lives like this. We made mistakes, but this is too much. Too much. Anna replied. Rebecca, you tried to destroy my career, my family relationships, my friendships, and my financial future. You plotted for over a year to systematically dismantle my entire life. But showing people who you really are is too much? Anna walked closer to the camera setup she had hidden near the altar. Ladies and gentlemen watching online, let me read you some of the text messages between Thomas and Rebecca about their plan to destroy my life. She pulled out her phone and began reading actual messages. Anna is so stupid, she'll never figure it out. I can't wait until she has nobody left but you, then we can take everything. She deserves this for being so boring and trusting. The live stream comments exploded with anger. People were calling Thomas and Rebecca horrible names and expressing support for Anna. Some viewers were sharing the stream with their own friends, spreading the story even further. Thomas's boss is probably watching this right now, Anna continued. Rebecca's supervisor might be seeing this. Their neighbors, their college friends, their extended family, everyone is learning the truth about what they did. Thomas tried to speak again, but his voice came out as a croak. Anna, please, I'll do anything. I'll pay back all the money. I'll go to counseling. Just please stop this. Stop what, Thomas? Anna asked. Stop telling the truth? Stop showing people who you really are? You weren't concerned about destroying my reputation when you were spreading lies about me to my boss. You weren't worried about humiliating me when you were planning to bigamously marry Rebecca while still engaged to me. Anna turned back to address both the wedding guests and the online audience. I want everyone to understand something important. This isn't just about revenge. This is about justice. Thomas and Rebecca didn't just hurt me, they're dangerous people who will do this to others if they don't face consequences. She held up her folder of evidence again. The systematic lying, the financial theft, the manipulation, the attempts to isolate me from my support system, this is a pattern of behavior. If I had just quietly broken up with Thomas and walked away, he would have done this to his next girlfriend. Anna's mother stood up and addressed the camera directly. I want everyone watching to know that my daughter is the strongest, smartest woman I know. Thomas and Rebecca thought they could break her, but instead she broke them. Other family members and friends began standing up to show their support for Anna. Her father stepped forward and said, Anna, we are so proud of you for having the courage to expose these criminals and protect yourself. Anna's friend Nicole from work, who had been manipulated by Rebecca's lies, also stood up. Anna, I am so sorry I believed Rebecca's lies about you. I should have talked to you directly instead of just cutting off our friendship. It's not your fault, Nicole, Anna replied. Rebecca is very good at manipulation. That's why I wanted everyone to see this evidence. I want people to understand how these predators operate so they can protect themselves. The live stream viewer count was climbing rapidly. Anna checked her phone and announced, "We now have over 25,000 people watching. This story is being shared on multiple social media platforms." She turned to Thomas and Rebecca one more time. "You wanted to destroy my reputation and isolate me from people who cared about me. Instead, you've destroyed your own reputations and shown the world that I have an incredible support system of people who love me." Anna gestured to the wedding guests, who were now clearly on her side. "Look around this church. These people came here today to celebrate love and commitment. Instead, they witnessed lies and betrayal. But they also witnessed strength and justice." The police officers were ready to leave with Thomas and Rebecca, but Anna had one final announcement for her online audience. "For everyone watching who has been a victim of financial abuse, emotional manipulation, or systematic lying in their relationships, document everything. Save evidence. Get legal help. Don't suffer in silence, and don't let criminals get away with destroying your life." Anna looked directly into the camera. "My name is Anna Roberts, and I refuse to be a victim. Thomas Mitchell and Rebecca Collins tried to destroy me, but instead they destroyed themselves. And now the whole world knows exactly who they are." The live stream comments were full of people sharing their own stories of relationship betrayal and expressing gratitude to Anna for showing them how to fight back. Some viewers were even offering to help her with legal expenses or job opportunities. As the police finally led Thomas and Rebecca out of the church, Anna waved goodbye to them with a bright smile. "Goodbye, Thomas. Goodbye, Rebecca. Enjoy your criminal records and your destroyed reputations. You earned them." The wedding guests burst into applause as the criminals were removed from the church. Anna had turned what was supposed to be the worst day of her life into a triumphant victory that was being witnessed and celebrated by thousands of people around the world. 3 days after the wedding that became a public trial, Anna sat in her new apartment drinking coffee and reading the flood of supportive messages that continued to pour in from around the world. The live stream of her confrontation with Thomas and Rebecca had been viewed over 2 million times, and she had received thousands of messages from people who had experienced similar betrayals. The apartment was beautiful, a bright, modern space with large windows and gleaming hardwood floors. Anna had signed the lease 2 months ago, long before the wedding, as part of her escape plan. She had been preparing for this new life while Thomas and Rebecca thought they were destroying her old one. "I can't believe how organized you were," said her sister Michelle, who had flown in from California to help Anna settle into her new place. "You planned every detail of your exit strategy." Anna smiled as she unpacked a box of books. "When I first started discovering Thomas's lies, I realized I needed to be smart about how I handled it. I couldn't just react emotionally. I had to protect myself legally and financially." The apartment was in a completely different neighborhood from where she had lived with Thomas. Anna had chosen it carefully close to her work, in a safe building with good security, and far enough away that Thomas couldn't easily find her even after his restraining order expired. "Tell me again how you managed to save enough money for this place while Thomas was stealing from your accounts," Michelle said. Anna pulled out a file folder. She seemed to have folders for everything now. "When I first noticed money missing from our joint savings, I opened a new account at a different bank. I had my paychecks deposited there instead. Thomas never noticed because he was so focused on spending what was already in our joint account." She showed Michelle bank statements proving she had managed to save over $8,000 in her secret account. "I also picked up extra freelance work writing articles for business websites. Thomas thought I was working late at my regular job, but I was actually earning money he didn't know about." Anna had used that money for her apartment deposit, her lawyer's fees, and the private investigator who had documented Thomas and Rebecca's affair. While they were stealing from her openly, she was secretly building the resources she needed to destroy them. "What about your job?" Michelle asked. "Are they being supportive after everything that happened?" Anna's expression brightened. "Actually, my boss Miss Patterson has been incredible. When she learned that Thomas had been calling to spread lies about my mental health, she was furious. She said the company wants to support me however they can." Anna pulled out an official letter from her employer. "They're promoting me to the position I should have gotten months ago. The one Rebecca sabotaged. Plus they're giving me a raise and additional vacation time to deal with the legal proceedings." The promotion came with a significant salary increase that would make Anna's new independent life much more comfortable. Her employer had also offered to provide a reference letter for any legal proceedings, confirming that Anna was a reliable, stable employee who had never shown signs of the mental health issues Thomas had claimed. "And look at this," Anna said, showing Michelle her laptop screen. "I've been offered 3 different jobs from people who saw the live stream and were impressed by how I handled everything. One offer was from a law firm that specialized in financial crimes. They wanted to hire Anna as a victim advocate to help other people who had experienced similar betrayals. Another offer was from a marketing company that wanted her to write articles about financial safety in relationships. I'm also getting paid for interviews, Anna continued. 2 different podcasts want to have me on to tell my story. A magazine wants to write an article about financial abuse and how to protect yourself. Anna was turning her terrible experience into a new career opportunity. She was becoming an advocate for other victims while also building financial security for herself. Michelle looked at a wall where Anna had hung up printed screenshots of supportive social media messages. These are amazing. Look at all these people saying you inspired them to leave bad relationships or stand up to people who were stealing from them. That's the best part of this whole thing, Anna said. Yes, I got justice for myself. But I'm also helping other people recognize the warning signs of financial abuse and emotional manipulation. Anna had created social media accounts dedicated to sharing information about relationship red flags and legal resources for victims of financial crimes. She was using her platform to educate people and prevent others from going through what she had experienced. Have you heard anything about Thomas and Rebecca since they were arrested? Michelle asked. Anna pulled out newspaper clippings. Thomas was fired from the bank immediately. Banks have zero tolerance for employees who commit financial crimes, even outside of work. Rebecca was also fired from her marketing job. She showed Michelle court documents. Thomas posted bail, but he's facing serious charges. His lawyer is trying to negotiate a plea deal, but the prosecutor says the evidence is so strong that Thomas will definitely do jail time. Anna had learned that Rebecca was also facing criminal charges, though her lawyer was arguing she was manipulated by Thomas. Rebecca is trying to claim she was a victim too, but the text messages show she was an active participant in planning everything. The legal proceedings were moving forward quickly. Anna's lawyer was confident that the civil lawsuit would result in significant damages, and the criminal charges meant Thomas and Rebecca would have permanent records that would affect their ability to get jobs, rent apartments, or obtain credit. The best part, Anna said, is that I don't have to see them or deal with them at all. The restraining order means they can't contact me, and all communication has to go through lawyers. Anna was rebuilding her social relationships too. Friends who had been turned against her by Thomas and Rebecca's lies were reaching out to apologize and reconnect. Her family relationships were stronger than ever, and she was making new friends through her advocacy work. I'm actually happier now than I was before any of this happened, Anna told her sister. I thought I was happy with Thomas, but I was actually just accepting a life that was much smaller than what I deserved. Anna's new apartment, new job prospects, and new sense of purpose had shown her what her life could be like when it wasn't being sabotaged by people who claimed to love her. I never would have found this apartment, gotten this promotion, or discovered this new career path if Thomas and Rebecca hadn't forced me to start over, Anna said. In a weird way, they did me a favor by showing me I could build a better life without them. 6 weeks after the wedding day confrontation, the consequences for Thomas and Rebecca were becoming more severe than either of them had imagined. Anna was thriving in her new life, but she occasionally received updates about their downward spiral through court documents and news reports. Thomas had been forced to move back in with his parents after being evicted from his apartment. The bank had not only fired him but also reported him to financial industry regulators, making it nearly impossible for him to get another job in banking or finance. His parents are furious with him, Anna's lawyer Ms. Rodriguez reported during one of their meetings. I heard from Thomas's lawyer that they're making him pay rent and do chores like he's a teenager again. Thomas's father, who had always been proud of his son's banking career, was now embarrassed to face his friends and neighbors. The story had spread throughout their small community, and everyone knew that Thomas was a criminal who had stolen from his own fiancée. The worst part for Thomas, Ms. Rodriguez continued, is that he's discovering Rebecca isn't the person he thought she was either. It turned out that Rebecca had been lying to Thomas just as much as she had been lying to Anna. She had told Thomas she had savings of her own, but she was actually deeply in debt. She had credit cards maxed out and owed money to several people. Rebecca has been borrowing money from everyone she knows, Ms. Rodriguez explained. She told Thomas she had $10,000 saved up, but she actually owes about $15,000 to various creditors. Rebecca had also lied about her pregnancy in a way that was even more manipulative than Anna had revealed at the wedding. She hadn't just bought a fake pregnancy test, she had been researching how to fake pregnancy symptoms and had been lying to Thomas about doctor's appointments that never happened. Thomas finally demanded to go to a doctor's appointment with her, Ms. Rodriguez said. That's when Rebecca had to admit she was never pregnant at all. Thomas was planning to leave you for a baby that didn't exist. Thomas was now facing the reality that he had destroyed his relationship with Anna, ruined his career, and acquired a criminal record, all for a woman who had been lying to him constantly. Rebecca wasn't the loving, honest person she had pretended to be. She was just as manipulative with him as she had been with Anna. Rebecca's situation was even worse. After being fired from her marketing job, she had been unable to find new employment. Her criminal charges were a matter of public record, and employers could easily find information about her fraud conviction online. Rebecca applied for over 30 jobs, Ms. Rodriguez reported. Every employer who ran a background check rejected her immediately. Companies don't want to hire people who have committed fraud, especially in positions that involve handling money or client relationships. Rebecca had also been forced to move back with her parents, but unlike Thomas's situation, her family was not supportive. Her mother had told neighbors that she was ashamed and embarrassed by Rebecca's actions. Rebecca's father gave an interview to the local newspaper, Ms. Rodriguez said, showing Anna a news clipping. He said he didn't raise his daughter to be a liar and a thief, and that she needed to face the consequences of her choices. Rebecca's relationship with Scott, her boyfriend who had been at the wedding, had obviously ended immediately. But Anna learned that Scott was now pursuing his own legal action against Rebecca for fraud related to money she had borrowed from him under false pretenses. Scott discovered that Rebecca had borrowed $3,000 from him, claiming she needed it for medical expenses, Ms. Rodriguez explained. She actually used his money to pay for hotel rooms for her affair with Thomas. The social media fallout continued to haunt both Thomas and Rebecca. The wedding confrontation video had been shared millions of times, and both their names were permanently associated with the story online. Employers, landlords, and even dating prospects can easily find information about what they did, Ms. Rodriguez noted. The internet has a long memory, and this story has become a cautionary tale that people share widely. Thomas had tried to create new social media accounts under different names, but people who knew him kept recognizing him and sharing the original story. He couldn't escape his reputation as the man who stole from his fiancée and tried to commit bigamy. Rebecca had completely disappeared from social media, but that didn't help her either. Her absence from online platforms made employers even more suspicious when they tried to research her background. The legal consequences were also escalating. Thomas's plea bargain negotiations had failed because the prosecutor wanted to make an example of his case. Financial crimes were taken seriously, especially when they involved forged documents and identity theft. Thomas is likely going to face at least 18 months in prison, Ms. Rodriguez reported. His lawyer tried to argue for probation, but the judge said the systematic nature of his crimes showed he was a danger to future victims. Rebecca's charges were less severe, but she was still facing significant jail time and would have a permanent criminal record. Her lawyer was trying to negotiate community service, but the prosecutor was pushing for at least 6 months in prison. The judge said both Thomas and Rebecca showed callous disregard for their victim and needed to face serious consequences, Ms. Rodriguez explained. Anna felt a sense of satisfaction when she heard about these developments, but she wasn't dwelling on Thomas and Rebecca's problems. She was too busy building her new life and helping other people avoid similar situations. "I almost feel sorry for them," Anna told her sister Michelle during one of their weekly phone calls. "They destroyed their lives for nothing. They had everything they needed to be happy, but they chose to be greedy and dishonest instead." Anna had learned that Thomas's parents were now dealing with financial problems because they had to pay for his legal fees and support him while he was unemployed. Rebecca's family relationships were permanently damaged, and she had lost friendships that had taken years to build. "They thought they were going to get my money and have a perfect life together," Anna reflected. Instead, they lost everything they had and gained nothing except criminal records and ruined reputations. The contrast between Anna's new success and Thomas and Rebecca's complete downfall was stark. While they were dealing with unemployment, legal troubles, and family shame, Anna was thriving professionally and personally. "Sometimes I wonder if they regret what they did," Anna said. "But then I remember that they had multiple opportunities to stop and tell the truth, and they chose to keep lying and stealing instead." Anna knew that Thomas and Rebecca's consequences would follow them for the rest of their lives, while her own life was getting better every day. 8 months after the wedding day that changed everything, Anna stood in her office at Patterson, Martinez and Associates, looking out the window at the city skyline. She had been promoted again, this time to senior financial crimes consultant, and was now helping other people protect themselves from exactly the kind of fraud she had experienced. Her office walls were decorated with thank you letters from clients she had helped, awards from victim advocacy organizations, and a framed photo from her appearance on a national television show where she had discussed financial abuse in relationships. "Anna, your 3 o'clock appointment is here," her assistant called through the intercom. Anna was meeting with Jennifer, a young woman whose boyfriend had been stealing from her credit cards and forging her signature on loan applications. The case was remarkably similar to what Anna had experienced with Thomas. "Come in, Jennifer," Anna said, gesturing to the comfortable chairs in her office. "Tell me what's been happening." As Jennifer described her boyfriend's financial crimes, Anna took detailed notes and offered both practical advice and emotional support. This was exactly the kind of work that made Anna feel like her terrible experience had led to something meaningful. "The most important thing," Anna told Jennifer, "is that you document everything before you confront him. Don't let him know you're aware of what he's doing until you have legal protection in place." Anna had developed a comprehensive system for helping fraud victims that included legal referrals, financial planning, and emotional support. She had become an expert on relationship fraud and was frequently invited to speak at conferences and workshops. After Jennifer left, Anna checked her calendar for the rest of the week. She had a podcast interview on Tuesday, a consultation with a law firm on Wednesday, and a speaking engagement at a women's business conference on Friday. Her phone buzzed with a text from her sister Michelle. "Saw your article in Business Weekly magazine. So proud of you." Anna had written an article about financial red flags in relationships that had been published in several national publications. The article included practical advice about protecting your finances and legal rights when entering serious relationships. Her social media following had grown to over 100,000 people who followed her advice about financial safety and relationship warning signs. Anna regularly shared educational content and resources for people who needed help escaping fraudulent or abusive relationships. "Anna," her assistant said, peeking into the office, "Ms. Rodriguez is online too. She has an update about your case." Anna picked up the phone to speak with her lawyer. "Hi, Ms. Rodriguez. What's the news?" "Great news," the lawyer said. "The civil lawsuit settlement was finalized today. Thomas and Rebecca will be paying you $78,000 in total damages." Anna smiled. The settlement was even higher than they had originally expected. The money would cover everything Thomas had stolen, plus damages for emotional distress, lost income from the sabotage promotion, and punitive damages. "Thomas is paying most of it from his parents' savings," Ms. Rodriguez continued. "They liquidated some investments to settle the case and avoid a longer legal battle. Rebecca is on a payment plan that will take her 5 years to complete." The financial justice was satisfying, but Anna was more pleased about the precedent the case had set. Her lawsuit had been cited in several other fraud cases, helping other victims win their own settlements. "Also," Ms. Rodriguez added, "I thought you should know that Thomas was sentenced yesterday. 18 months in federal prison, plus 3 years of probation." Anna felt a sense of closure. Thomas would have plenty of time to think about his choices while serving his sentence. Rebecca had received 8 months in county jail plus community service, and both of them would have permanent criminal records. After hanging up with her lawyer, Anna returned to her work preparing for the Women's Business Conference. She was going to speak about financial independence and protecting yourself from people who might try to exploit your trust. Her evening plans included dinner with Mark, a kind and honest man she had met at a victim advocacy workshop 6 months ago. Mark was a counselor who worked with people recovering from financial abuse, and he understood Anna's work and mission. Their relationship was developing slowly and carefully. Anna was taking time to build trust and make sure Mark's actions matched his words. She had learned to value consistency, honesty, and respect above romantic gestures. "Anna, you have a visitor," her assistant announced. Anna looked up to see Nicole, her former co-worker who had been manipulated by Rebecca's lies. Nicole was holding a small gift bag and smiling nervously. "I brought you something," Nicole said, sitting down across from Anna's desk. "It's a small thank you gift for showing me how toxic people operate." Inside the bag was a beautiful journal with Anna's initials engraved on the cover. "I wanted to thank you for helping me recognize manipulation in my own relationships. After seeing what Rebecca did to you, I realized my ex-boyfriend was using similar tactics on me." Anna was pleased to hear that her experience was helping other people protect themselves. "I'm so glad you were able to get out of that situation. How are things going now?" "Much better," Nicole replied. "I'm in a healthy relationship now with someone who respects my boundaries and supports my goals. And I got promoted at work because I'm not being distracted by relationship drama anymore." Anna and Nicole made plans to have lunch the following week. Their friendship had been rebuilt on a stronger foundation after Nicole understood how she had been manipulated into turning against Anna. As Anna prepared to leave work for the day, she reflected on how much her life had changed. The woman who had walked down the church aisle 8 months ago had been naive about the extent of human dishonesty and manipulation. The woman leaving the office today was wiser, stronger, and dedicated to helping others avoid similar betrayals. Her phone buzzed with another message, this time from a woman in another state who had read Anna's article and was asking for advice about her own situation. Anna quickly typed back some resources and encouragement. Anna had discovered that helping other people heal from betrayal was helping her heal too. Every person she assisted, every article she wrote, and every speech she gave was turning her painful experience into something positive and meaningful. As she walked to her car, Anna thought about how Thomas and Rebecca had tried to destroy her life but had instead given her a much better life than she would have had with them. She was financially secure, professionally successful, and personally fulfilled in ways she never could have imagined. 1 year to the day after the wedding that never happened, Anna stood on the stage of a packed auditorium giving the keynote speech at the National Conference on Financial Crime Prevention. She wore a confident smile and a beautiful blue dress as she addressed an audience of lawyers, law enforcement officers, and victim advocates. Exactly 1 year ago, Anna began, I was supposed to be celebrating my first wedding anniversary. Instead, I'm here celebrating something much better: justice, healing, and the power of refusing to be a victim. The audience applauded as Anna told her story with the wisdom and perspective that had come from a year of healing and growth. She spoke about the warning signs she had missed, the legal strategies that had worked, and the importance of supporting other victims. The best revenge against people who try to destroy you, Anna said, is to build a life so much better than anything they could have given you that you actually thank them for showing you what you're capable of. After her speech, Anna was surrounded by people wanting to share their own stories and ask for advice. She gave out business cards and resources, continuing the work that had become her passion and purpose. Later that evening, Anna sat in her favorite restaurant with Mark, celebrating both her successful speech and their 6-month anniversary. Their relationship had grown into something strong and genuine, built on mutual respect and complete honesty. I have something for you, Mark said, pulling out a small wrapped box. Inside was a beautiful necklace with a pendant shaped like a phoenix. For the woman who rose from the ashes of betrayal and became something magnificent, Mark said. Anna smiled as he fastened the necklace around her neck. The phoenix was perfect. It represented exactly how she felt about her journey from victim to victor. Her phone buzzed with a text from Ms. Rodriguez. Final payment received from Rebecca today. Your case is officially closed with full settlement. Anna showed the message to Mark. It's finished. I've recovered every penny they stole, plus enough in damages to fund my victim advocacy work for years. The $78,000 settlement had been life-changing. Anna had used part of it to expand her consulting business, some to help other fraud victims with legal expenses, and the rest to secure her financial future. Any word on how Thomas and Rebecca are doing? Mark asked. Anna pulled out her phone to show him a news article. Thomas was released from prison last month. He's working at a fast food restaurant and living in a halfway house. Rebecca finished her jail sentence and is working part-time at a call center. Both Thomas and Rebecca had struggled to rebuild their lives after their criminal convictions. Thomas couldn't work in banking or finance ever again, and Rebecca's marketing career was permanently over. Rebecca tried to start a blog about learning from mistakes, Anna continued, but people in the comments kept posting links to our wedding video. She gave up after 2 weeks. The viral wedding confrontation video continued to follow Thomas and Rebecca wherever they went. Potential employers, landlords, and romantic partners could easily find the story online, making it difficult for them to move forward. Do you ever feel bad for them? Mark asked. Anna considered the question seriously. Sometimes I feel sad that they chose to be the kind of people who would destroy someone they claim to love. But I don't feel guilty about the consequences they're facing. They had every opportunity to make different choices. Anna's life had improved in every possible way over the past year. Her consulting business was thriving, her advocacy work was making a difference, and her relationship with Mark was everything Thomas had never been: honest, supportive, and built on genuine care. I got another job offer today, Anna told Mark. A law firm in New York wants me to head their new financial crimes victim services department. The offer came with a significant salary increase and the opportunity to help even more people. Anna was considering it, though she was also happy with her current life and didn't feel pressured to change anything. Whatever you decide, Mark said, I'm proud of how you've turned something terrible into something beautiful. Anna's phone showed dozens of social media notifications from people thanking her for her speech that day. Her online following had grown to over 300,000 people who looked to her for advice about relationship safety and financial protection. She had also received messages from other people who had exposed cheating partners in dramatic ways, crediting Anna's story with giving them the courage to demand justice instead of just walking away quietly. I think the best part of this whole experience, Anna reflected, is that I learned I'm so much stronger than I ever knew. Thomas and Rebecca thought they were taking advantage of someone weak and naive. Instead, they picked a fight with someone who was smarter and more determined than they were. Anna raised her glass of wine in a toast. To Thomas and Rebecca, wherever they are tonight. Thank you for showing me what I'm capable of. Thank you for proving that I deserve so much better than what you were offering. And thank you for giving me a story that helps other people protect themselves. Mark clinked his glass against hers. To Anna Roberts, the woman who turned betrayal into victory and used her pain to help others heal. As they finished dinner, Anna checked her email one more time. There was a message from a woman in Australia who had read Anna's story and was asking for advice about her own situation with a fraudulent partner. Anna quickly typed back with resources and encouragement, continuing the work that had become her mission. Every person she helped, every story she shared, and every speech she gave was proof that Thomas and Rebecca had failed completely in their attempt to destroy her. Instead of destroying Anna, they had created someone more powerful, more successful, and more fulfilled than the woman who had walked down that church aisle a year ago. They had tried to take everything from her, but they had accidentally given her a better life than she ever could have imagined. Anna looked at Mark across the table, thought about her thriving career and her meaningful work, and smiled with complete satisfaction. This was the sweetest victory of all, not just that she had survived their betrayal, but that she had used it to build something wonderful. Thomas and Rebecca had lost everything they had tried to steal from her, while Anna had gained everything they had tried to take away. Justice had been served and life was beautiful.